The Smiths with a rare Italian alternate version of How Soon Is Now. The next song with an interesting backstory is Bittersweet Symphony by The Verve from their 1997 album Urban Hymns. Huge song, biggest single of the band's career, and they're not making a dime from it. I mean, they're making nothing. All this stems from, I guess, what you would call a 6-second misunderstanding. Back in the 1960s, a guy by the name of Andrew Loog Oldham was the manager of the Rolling Stones. On the side, he formed something he called the Andrew Loog Oldham Orchestra, which, well, specialized in cheesy orchestral versions of pop songs of the day. A lot of people were doing that. In June of 1966, the orchestra released an album called The Rolling Stones Songbook. It included a version of the Stones song The Last Time, and the arrangement from that record sounded like this. All right, so that sounds suspiciously similar to this. And yes, they are identical. That's because the Verve sampled that string bit directly from the Andrew Loog Oldham recording. But no big deal, right? Bands sample material all the time. Everything's cool if the sample is properly cleared. And the Verve did that. They cleared the sample. They properly negotiated the use of the sample in Bittersweet Symphony. Or at least they thought they did. But then Oldham and his people argued that the Verve had used the sample more than what was negotiated. And this led to a big lawsuit with a company that owns the rights to all the Rolling Stones songs from the 1960s. In the end, despite the negotiated sample, despite the new lyrics, and despite that outside of the sample, the two recordings sound nothing alike, all rights from Bittersweet Symphony were stripped from the Verve and given to Mick Jagger and Keith Richards. And it gets worse. The song was used in TV commercials for Nike and several car spots in the UK and Europe. And where did that licensing money go? Not the Verve. How much has this cost the Verve? Hard to say. Millions, though. So here's a lesson, kids. Always, always make sure your samples are properly cleared.